Doug MPA back with another one. Guys, I'm going to keep the women and student loan debt momentum going. I found this article. It's called Retired Grandmother Still Owes $108,000 in Student Debt 40 Years After Taking Out a Loan. That's right, 40 years. She's been paying on this loan. It's ballooned up to 108,000. And this is the future for these modern women that go into debt for these degrees, guys. This is the future, especially if they're by themselves their whole lives. They're not going to be able to pay off 100, to $300,000 in student loans by themselves. And the sad part about it is these universities and the government, they know it, but they give them the money for these degrees anyway. And these women sign a dotted line. So we're going to get into this article. Before I do that, like the video, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. I'd really appreciate it. It shows you support me, what I'm doing over here. And I'm going to start this off the way I start off every single women student loan debt video. Guys, a woman's debt should be a disqualifier for consideration for a serious relationship or marriage, guys. Do not marry a woman. Do not take a woman seriously who has a whole bunch of debt. And I'll also say this, guys, if you become something, if you get a trade and become successful, if you go to college and get degrees in something that matter, you become a man of means, like right around 35, a lot of the women around you are going to be single mothers, and a lot of women around you are going to have more debt than you guys. So you gotta be aware. Keep your eyes open, ears open. Have that conversation. No single mothers and no women with a whole bunch of debt, guys. Okay. All right, let's get into this. In 1986, Nancy Peter took out a student loan to finish her psychology degree. Of course, guys, of course. What are the 7 degrees on my channel I always say women get that aren't worth the paper they're printed on? You guys ready? Say it with me. Psychology, sociology, social work, criminal justice, some kind of studies degree. So gender studies, African American studies, Asian studies, communications, and education. So to finish her psychology degree at Mundelein College in Chicago, almost 4 decades later, she's still paying it back. The interest compounds and compounds, so every penny I don't pay goes sky high, she said. Peter took out another loan to go to graduate school at Loyola University and has worked as a therapist. Of course, she's a therapist, guys, for nearly 40 years. So she's been a therapist helping people with their problems, trying to give people life advice, being paid to do so, and she's let this problem persist so long that it's $108,000. But now the 71-year-old retired grandmother of two owes 6 figures, more than triple the initial amount of money borrowed. Guys, I did the math. So her initial loans for her undergrad and graduate degree were $36,000, and now it's $108,000. So if you take 108 and divide it by 3, it's 36. She said she owes about 108,000 and is enrolled in an income-driven repayment plan. These plans allow a borrower to pay what they can based on how much money they make. Sometimes the payments are so low that they don't even cover the interest, meaning the money owed is increasing even as borrowers are making payments. Peter went into forbearance on the loan at one point because of health issues. She had permission to temporarily pause payments, but the interest kept building. That happens all the time, and it's really important for borrowers to understand that when you take out loans, pretty much any type of private loan, a federal student loan, interest usually starts to accrue immediately. According to the U.S. Department of Education, 43 million Americans owe a collective 1.3 trillion in student loan debt. The average borrower owes 37,000. Guys, women own about 70% of this 1.3 trillion. Men are waking up. We're going to college less, and women are still signing up and taking out all this debt. Why? And only 10% of STEM students, science, technology, engineering, and math, are women. All the rest are getting degrees in the 7 areas I previously mentioned. This will sound terrible, Peter said, but I have a paper of different ways you can have your loan forgiven, and the only one I fit into was I would have to die. Oh my God. So yeah, she gonna carry this debt into when she's buried into the ground. It's just sad. This is the future, guys. So we talk about, the Sleepy Joe administration's plan to forgive hundreds of billions of dollars in student loan debt. He has that SAVE plan, which would drastically cut monthly payments for eligible borrowers who have made 10 years of payments, 12,000 or less, and Those with higher balance or consolidated loans may be eligible for forgiveness too. So far, more than 7 million people have enrolled into the SAVE program. It forgives balances sooner. It used to be 20 years or 25 years, but now it depends on the size of your loan. The balance can be forgiven in 10 years. So she said, it's humiliating, Peter said. It's such a private thing. If somebody knew I owed this kind of money, they would look at me in a whole different way. Gee, like all the people that paid you to be the therapist for 40 years? I know. Could you imagine if you had a therapist who was like 100 and some odd $1,000 in student loan debt and you found out who was just letting the student loans go into default and forbearance? Guys, would that change your opinion of a therapist? It would change my opinion for sure. When asked why she decided to share her story, Peter responded, I needed help. And if I need help, there's a lot of other people who need help. And if one person comes out of this getting help, then it makes it worth it for me. Like I said, this is the future, guys. I don't know how these women are getting all these loans, expecting to stay strong and independent and paying all these off. It's impossible. This is the future. Tell me I'm lying. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you on the next one.